Hello and welcome to the Anxious Knitter podcast. My name is Joy and I'm the Anxious Knitter. I'm so anxious that I didn't even tell my husband I was recording this today. So my name is Joy and this is the first episode of the Anxious Knitter podcast. I'm coming to you from Waterloo, Ontario, Canada, which is not a very exciting place in all honesty. But it's okay. Yeah, so I am actually a fairly new knitter. I started in August of this year as a way to cope with some pretty hectic anxiety, and gotta say it's working out pretty well for me, all things considered. It's pushed me out of a lot of my comfort zones, and it's just a really cool way to indulge in my craftiness. I am a very crafty person. I actually work as I'm kind of a consummate dabbler. So I work in early children's literacy. I work as a director and stage manager for a local children's theater company. I am a watercolorist, and I like to scrapbook and act. I was in this play, and I was in that play. I was also in another play, but I don't have a poster for it on my wall. But yeah, and so I really like to do all sorts of different crafts and just find new ways to explore my creativity. And knitting has been the most recent one. I was a crocheter. I crocheted some basic things like blankets and scarves, and I went through a thing with arm warmers where I actually sold a bunch of them for charity in between shows that I was directing. But yeah, so I've just recently taken up knitting, like I said, and it's been a really, really fun outlet for me. And that's my dog. Did I mention that I live here with my husband and my dog? His name is Opie. The dog, not my husband. My husband's name is Luke. I think he's done. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah, no, so one of the things that I've noticed about knitting, it's not really the same as how it was with crocheting, is that I'm actually a fairly ambitious knitter. I've completed lots of different kinds of projects in the last few months, and it's been really, really fun to learn new skills. Oh, no, he's not done. Do I know what he's barking at? Nothing. Literally nothing. There's nothing there. Opie, come here. Oh, he's coming. Hold on a sec. Come here. Come here. Opie. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, there he is. This is Opie. He is about 3 years old, and he is a pug mix. We don't know what with. He's a mystery dog. We rescued him a couple years ago from the local Humane Society, and yeah, he's our best friend. Don't touch the computer, dude. Okay. So anyway, yeah. This podcast will mostly be about knitting, hence why it's called The Anxious Knitter. But I will probably throw in some other stuff that I've been doing, like if I crochet anything, or if I paint anything that is particularly noteworthy, or whatever comes up, then I will probably just kind of throw that into a segment near the end, but I don't really have anything from that. Actually. The other thing I like to do is write. I am an aspiring author. Yeah. We'll see how that works out. I like to write young adult horror, mostly. Because we all need a little bit more horror in our lives, don't we? Anyway, let's get to the knitting. So let's start with finished objects, one of which I am wearing. Many of you will probably recognize the pattern because it's kind of exploding right now, and for good reason. This is the Girl from the Grocery Store Shawl by Locatelli. Obviously, for the grocery girls, Tracy and Joji, fellow Canadians who are wonderful and inspiring and hilarious, and I literally look forward to their videos every single week, and they inspired me to do a lot of things, including knit a Locatelli pattern and knit socks, but I'll get to that later. So anyway, this is my girl from the grocery store, Shawl. Opie, get out of there. Hey! Out of there. Get out of there. I knit it out of Madeline Tosh. So this orange and purple, which is I'm obsessed with, is Tosh Merino Light in Stephen Loves Tosh, which I believe is discontinued. At least that's what the lady at the yarn store told my husband when he was buying this for me for Christmas. Bro knows me, okay? Yeah. So anyway, he had gotten me this yarn for Christmas, and he also bought me the illustrated editions of the first 2 Harry Potter books. So obviously, my brain connected the 2 of them, and this was just obviously like the Weasleys and the Burrow to me. So then we went to our local yarn store to buy some more because they just recently started stocking Madeline Tosh. This is Twist Light, I believe, in Birch Gray. Now, I'd actually bought a different yarn to go with the orange. It was Madeline Tosh ink, and it was beautiful, and I will use it for something. But unfortunately, when I started knitting the stripes, other end, it started feeling like a sports jersey or something. I don't know, I just didn't like it. So luckily I had also picked up this skein, and I loved it. It made me think of Hedwig because of the black speckles, so I ended up calling the shawl on my Ravelry page Letters to the Burrow, because it made me think of like Hedwig bringing letters to Ron and Ginny probably at some point because they were dating. But yeah, so I absolutely loved knitting this. I bought the pattern literally as soon as I saw it pop up on my Instagram. I think I actually scared my husband because I screamed and then immediately like ran, and well, I didn't run. I just clicked really fast to buy the pattern, and then I like cast on like the moment I had the yarn. And I knit it pretty much constantly. It's gigantic. I actually probably could have blocked it out bigger, but literally did not have the space in my office. I think I was using like 2 yoga mats, a blanket, and then like a dishcloth folded 3 times because the end like was curling up past my yoga mat. I don't know, it was so dweeby, but like it looked so stupid. I couldn't have walked in here even if I wanted to. Couldn't have done any work in here. Not that I have recently been doing work in here because it's a disaster. But yeah, so literally love this. I'm already planning to make another one because it's the perfect size, it's the perfect shape, everything about it is perfect. It was really easy. I still classify myself as a beginner for sure, and I just like whipped through, oh my god, tying things on camera is bizarro. I live in bizarro world. Yeah, so that was my first finished object. Perfect pattern, Joji Locatelli. Perfect pattern, Jody and Tracy. Y'all are the best. I do say y'all a lot. I'm really sorry. I talk like a southern frat boy or something. It started out ironically because I watched a lot of TLC, like Toddlers and Tiaras and like Say Yes to the Dress Atlanta. So I would say it like as a joke, but then it actually just became part of my like vernacular. So, oh hey, bro. He doesn't like it when I'm talking to anybody but him. Okay, anyway, so the second finished object is actually just, like, I mean, it's older. Like, I finished this really recently. Can you sit your butt down, bruh? So, I mean, y'all probably know what this is. It's the Antler hat, yeah. By Tin Can Knits, Canadian. Free pattern. I love it. I did modify it a little bit, so I knitted the brim longer so that I could have more of like a fold, and I added a giant pom-pom. I had to use my husband's hand because my hand was literally too tiny to make a pom-pom the size that I wanted, and yeah, I knitted it out of just like basic like Patton's classic worsted. Okay, that's enough, bruh. Okay. In Aran Tweed, so it has the fun little speckles. I made a mistake. You can see it. Where is it? Here. Not sure how that happened. I could have knit back, or ripped it out, but I decided not to because I have a thing with perfectionism as part of my anxiety, where I get really defeatist about making mistakes. So I've been really trying hard not to let myself get like freaked out by mistakes. So I decided to just let this lie. Nobody but me really notices that it's there, honestly. But I'm actually like obsessed with this hat. I knit the adult small, and it literally, oh god, it's perfect. When I first finished it, I just would put it on in the house, just look at myself in the mirror. Anyway, yeah, I definitely recommend this pattern. I'm actually knitting it. So actually I did knit it again for my brother in DK weight, but like a total idiot. I got lazy and I didn't knit it big enough, and it was like, I mean, it was like this on him. Like, you know, like when old guys wear their hats like up above their ears for reasons unknown. Yeah, it was really bad. We had a good laugh at it for Christmas. But I told him I knit him another one. So I bought like actual like worsted weight yarn, like the pattern calls for, and I mean, I could show you it in whips, but I mean, it's gonna look the same. It's just dark gray and no pom-pom, because he's not a pom-pom kind of dude. As much as I like a pom-pom, he doesn't. Anyway, and this is another older one, but I gotta show you because I love it. I was so proud of it. This is it. It is the Mustardseed Shawl by Boo Knits. It was my first successful lace pattern. Oh, my light. Weird. Yeah, so it was my first successful lace pattern. And I knit this out of Indigo Dragonfly, her Geek Club, one of her Geek Club colorways. So this was Simon's Pretty Vest, which for you Joss Whedon fans, yes, that is Simon from Firefly. But I actually picked this yarn because it made me think of the color palette of Crimson Peak, which is one of my absolute favorite movies, directed by Guillermo del Toro. Written and directed, actually. It's perfect. If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now, and then you'll understand why I knit this. But yeah, so it's a merino cashmere silk base, so it's super, super soft. I'm not sure that I am actually a huge cashmere fan. In all reality, I don't know, like, I don't really, the fuzziness of it kind of like bugs me. Like, it covers up some of the intensity of the color. Like, it didn't knit up quite like it looks in the skein, if that makes any sense. Well, I mean, it makes sense. You guys know what I mean. But I still love it, and I was so proud of it. I made so many mistakes that, again, I just kept going. I did my best to, like, just kind of cover them up as I went. But, I mean, when it's, I mean, I wear shawls like this, right? Like, wrapped like a scarf. Let me just double layer this crap for you. Yeah. So this was actually, like, my first foray, like, into truly blocking, because up until then, I hadn't really knit, like, a proper shawl. So yeah, this was actually really deceptively simple. And if you have not knit a Boo Knits shawl and you want to do lace, or you've been thinking about it, but like you're not sure because the pictures look intimidating, just do it though, okay? Because she writes the most wonderful patterns. They are so easy to follow, charted and written instructions. I had like a literal revelation about reading charts just from this. And the nicest people are in her Ravelry group, man. Like, so helpful. So helpful. And like, they're on top of it. So yeah, I would really honestly classify this as a beginner pattern. It looks so much more complex than it is. Oh my god. I'm just looking at, it's so perfect. It's everything I wanted. Yeah, I love it. And like, she makes it so, like, it's a stockinette body, but she has these little bits, like these little garter ridges that keep you from like falling asleep while you're knitting it. But yeah, I just love the, like, it's not really, I don't know if you can see it. there's like golds and greens in there too. So yeah, if you go watch Crimson Peak, you will know why this yarn spoke to me. And actually, because I was planning to do this bigger than like the original pattern called for, so I did like an extra repeat of the body section because I like a larger shawl. I bought 2 skeins, okay, expecting to use like probably about half of the second skein. No, I used about maybe 10 yards of that second skein. So I still have essentially a full skein of this yarn, just chilling in my stash. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it. I'm kind of like going back and forth between a hat and fingerless gloves, another shawl. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna do another shawl with it. I think I'm gonna try something else. But yeah, here it is, Mustardseed shawl. Beautiful. Everything I wanted it to be. Okay, so that's it for finished objects. I mean, there are other things I could show you, and maybe I'll save them for the next time because, honestly, guys, I don't know what's going to be done next time. Anyway, work in progress. I have a few. I am not a monogamous knitter. Not even close. I mean, like, I am like on a constant rotation within the same day of things that I'm knitting on because I just am like that. Like, I just have moods. That's okay, right? I mean, whatever floats your boat, I guess. Whatever makes you happy. And knitting on like a crap ton of things makes me really happy. Anyway, so my first work in progress is in this sweet little Adventure Time project bag that my husband sewed for me. Both of his first sewing projects. Oh, my dog wants water. Hold on a sec. I'll be right back. Yeah, so that might happen in every podcast because my dog has a thing where if you put a bowl of water in front of him, he feels like he has to drink the entire thing in one go, and then he will immediately empty his bladder on the carpet. I don't know if that's maybe just from being a stray. So we have to like give him small increments of water when he asks for them, and he's really persistent. Anyway, yeah, so back to this. Yes, so both of the projects, my husband's first sewing projects, were for me, which is like, he's the sweetest person ever. But yeah, he made me this Adventure Time bag. Every time I look at this, I am Finn. Like this Finn. Oh my god. Yeah, so, he made this for me. I keep saying don't I? I'm gonna stop that though. So, I decided to make him a pair of socks, so we went to our local yarn store, Shall We Knit, by the way, which is amazing, and I let him pick out a skein of sock yarn. Now, okay, I've only knit one pair of socks, so like, which is fine. I was like immediately addicted, and I was inspired to knit socks by Tracy and Jody, and also like basically everyone else who knits beautiful socks. But I really struggled with the concept of spending like 30 plus Canadian dollars on a skein of yarn to be worn on my feet. So as of right now, I am mostly just going to be sticking to sort of the more budget yarn. So like my first pair of socks was Patton's Croy, which like was not a joy to knit. I got like actual like rope burn on my finger from the yarn like pulling through it. Like I have like a gross callus starting here. I also have a gross callus starting here from stabbing myself 1,000 times with my Haya sharps. Guys, those are really sharp. I drew blood. Anyway. So anyway, I let him pick out a skein of yarn. We spent like a bajillion years in the yarn store the other day. It was 2 days ago, I think. And he picked out a color that I would not have picked out for him if I was the one, like, choosing the yarn. it's fine, I guess. Let's see if it'll show up. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So it's self-striping Regia. I'm pretty sure it's Arnie and Carlos. Oh, it's literally right here in front of me. No, it's not. It's the yarn is attached to the project. That is a thing. Yeah, so Regia Blitz color. Obviously, this is not the colors of the sock. So yeah, it's kind of weird, actually. It's like this, you know what, I would love it. I would actually, like, love it if this was more, like, mustardy and not, like, it's not even, it's, like, more greenish than it's actually showing up on camera. And then it has, like, the blue and brown. So, I mean, whatever, that's what he likes. So it's just a plain vanilla sock. I did 1x1 ribbing. I don't know, because, so I had originally cast on 72 stitches, had him try it on, and it was like, it was so big. And he has huge feet. I mean, his skinny legs, like, I'm jealous of them, but, and so, like, I ended up ripping out the entire cuff, and, which was so annoying. I hate knitting cuffs. Hi, Opie. What are you doing, baby? You gotta wait. Yeah, so I did 1x1 ribbing instead, because I cast on 68 stitches, and I didn't like that it ended on the wrong thing. I'm so dumb. Whatever. So I did 1x1 instead. And I actually like the look of it better, because I did 2x2 on my Patons Croix socks. And yeah, so just plain vanilla. I'm following, for the most part, Philipp's free How I Knit My Socks. Obviously, I'm not doing 2 at a time, though, because, y'all, I'm not there yet. But yeah, so I'm knitting these. These ones are on just, like, regular high highs, which are fine. I don't really notice a huge difference. 2.25 millimeter needles, like, they're both pretty fine. So, okay, Opie, I'm serious, bro. Can you wait, please? Oh my god. Yeah, so anyway, Phillips. I love her, by the way. And I'm gonna probably do some of her other patterns. Yeah, so, 40-inch cable, which I like a lot better, because the first sock needles I bought, which are on my other whip, are 32, and I didn't think that I would feel a difference, but I do, quite a bit, so probably will only buy 40-inch cables from now on. So yeah, just like halfway down the leg. He likes a longer leg. He's sort of hipster like that. He likes his socks peeking out from his work pants. So yeah, so that's work in progress number 1. That back in my sweet little bag. And then my second one is yarn barfing currently. My bad. Hardcore just. Wow! Okay. I'm gonna make it a tangle mess, and then I'm gonna really regret it. Okay, anyway. So, my second whip is, oh my god, I left the freaking ball band out in the living room. It's Lang. I'm not sure what the colorway is, because everything's German. I do actually speak and read a bit of German. I took 3 years of it in school, but, like, sometimes, like, it's the context thing. Sorry, I'm fixing my hair like a weirdo. The context kind of, like, I don't understand it. Anyway, yeah, so I'm knitting a pattern that everyone and their mom and their moms have been knitting, except for my mom, because she doesn't knit. The Hermione'S Everyday Socks by Lueder, I believe. I'm gonna feel so bad if it's wrong. I'll make sure to, like, put it in a thing. But anyway, so this was another thing. I have a thing where I can't, like, actually start a project without having to rip it out at least 1 or 2 times. Like, the Crimson Peak shawl, I think I ripped out, like, 4 times before I got it to work. This one, I guess I only ripped it out once because I didn't like the original color I was using. This one, so I cast on 64 stitches because that's what I did for my Patton's Croy socks, and I don't know if it's just the yarn or if it was my gauge because it's exact same needles, but like, again, gigantic. So I went down to 60 stitches. I literally am in love with this yarn. It's not like a fancy yarn or anything, but it's so cute. And I actually, like, when we were standing there in the yarn shop and I had like 3 different skeins out, and I turned to Luke, I was like, which one looks like Hermione Granger to you? And he was like, this one, obviously. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Clearly. And it does, to me. It makes me think of, like, all her outfits in, like, the Deathly Hallows movies. I'm a huge Harry Potter nut, okay? This is a shelf that eventually is just all going to be Harry Potter. Like, I have our wands from the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I have a chocolate frog box. Anyway, sorry, digression. Harry Potter. Yeah, so that's 2 Harry Potter themed projects that I have going on this podcast. But anyway, yeah, so these socks. So, of course I had to try them out because it was free, it was simple, everybody was doing it, and I loved how everybody else's was turning out. And I was worried that I wouldn't like what the pattern did to the stripes, but I'm actually, like, literally obsessed with it. Obsessed. Okay, sorry, creepy. Yeah, so I'm not very far in onto the first sock. I did screw up a little bit. I don't know what it is, man. I was, like, dropping stitches like nobody's business yesterday. Just poof, like 8 stitches just flying off my needles, like with magic. I don't know what it was. It was awful. Yeah. So I do not have a project bag for this because I'm one of those people that I don't have those. I mean, Luke is gonna make me more because, like, I have tons of fabric for reasons unknown. Though the reasons are known. And I'll probably bring it up in another podcast because I do make a thing. I'm not a sewer at all. But this one thing I will sew. Yeah, so that is my Hermione's Everyday Sock. Partially. Alright, so that's it for my works in progress. Not a whole lot going on. Actually, no, I do have one more and I want to talk about it. So, again, give me 1 second. Ooh, I'm the worst! I've just literally trailed yarn barf through my entire office. Whoops. So, this is like the work in progress that is gonna go on for like a bajillion years. It is the Feyre shawl by Shannon on Instagram. Pretty sure that's who did it. Guys, I'm struggling really hard with this thing, okay? It's not that it's hard, because it's not. It's, like, blindingly simple, which is, like, I mean, the beauty of it. Oh, God, look at that. I just, like, totally... What happened here? And, like, you know what? I knew what was wrong. I just didn't fix it. I was like, that's what this bro's gonna look like now. Whatever. Second one turned out better. I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish it. I really don't. Like, I'm gonna probably knit a row to get it off my, like, Haya interchangeables, because otherwise the 40-inch cable will never see the light of day again. It will just be here, languishing in Feyre purgatory for all of eternity. Oh my god, this dog. I don't know what he thinks he's protecting me from. Squirrels, probably. Yeah, so I think there's a few things at play here. The first is, it required a lot of yardage. I don't know, it was almost 1,000 yards, I think. If not, like 1,000 yards. So I didn't want... Opie, can you cut it out, please? Okay. So I'm sort of cheap a little bit, and I was like, I don't need to spend a ton of money. Like, it's just a winter shawl scarf. Like, it's just gonna be under my coat, so why not just go buy Patton's Classic Worsted? I mean, there's nothing wrong with Patton's Classic Worsted. I loved using it for my antler hat. Do not love it for something this size, though. I think, okay, so I wanted it to look sort of like hers, which had the dark gray, like marled, and the cream. But the Patton's darkest one that they had was just, it's not dark enough. It's not. Like, it's like a weird in-between color, like, and it's showing up a lot darker on camera than it is in real life. Like, it's just, can you, I don't think I'll show it. So it's not like a lovely thing to work on because like this yarn is not like wonderful. It's not a joy to work with. Joy, that's my name. Oh my god. So yeah, I don't know, guys. Also, like, oh, I hate purling. The girl from the grocery store made me really learn, like, really realize that I love knitting a garter stitch shawl as opposed to a stockinette shawl. Because, y'all, to do these little stockinette portions, it's like, it hurts my soul to do that much. I really want the shawl is the problem that I'm having. Really, it's the main problem. I really want it. I just don't want to work on it. So it's been languishing in my work in progress basket, which ironically says dog toys right on it, but whatever. Like, my dog cares. He has a plastic bin. Oh, and like I have this little progress keeper, which is quite literally a bead on a safety pin that came on a sweater that I bought for my husband for Christmas. So, guys, I'm so crafty DIY Pinterest. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna rip it out. I don't know if I'm just gonna like wait and like accumulate yarn that I actually love for it, and maybe that will make me want to work on it more. But like, oh, I put in so many hours. So yeah, I think I'll leave works in progress there for realsies this time. And stash enhancement. Acquisitions. Stuff I bought for knitting. Should I call it that? Stuff I bought for knitting. Catchy. Anyway, I will be completely honest with you. I do not have much of a stash at all. I have a box like about like, I don't know, like 18 inches long, maybe 20 inches long, 18 inches wide, 16 inches wide, whatever. It's not even half full. And part of that is I used to have a ton of yarn, but it was all really crappy acrylic, and it was also that I was using to crochet like blankets and arm warmers. So I couldn't be spending a ton of money because I was like literally whipping these arm warmers out so fast. Like, and I mean, I would have like 2 hours between performances and maybe 2 hours, and I'd be like whipping off like 10 or 11 pairs of arm warmers. It became like an actual fad. I had kids buying them for me. I had kids like the kids that I work with buying them for me. I had them like bringing me yarn to like I wouldn't charge them if they brought me the yarn to use, which, I mean, oh my god, some of that yarn was the worst. But that's okay. They're kids. it needed to be durable is the point. Like I wasn't gonna buy $30 skeins of yarn to knit these arm warmers. So I recently went through that box and just threw all of it out. I mean, like it was pretty ratchet, guys. Like it was not even like nice acrylic. It was just gross. I mean, it was stuff that even I bought and I was like, I don't know if I like this even, but it's on sale, so I bought it. But recently, I've learned the beauty of like designer yarns and indie yarns and all that good stuff, and it's really bad for my bank account. It's not really that bad, okay? I'm exaggerating. But the point is I don't have like a huge stash of yarn to pull from if I want to start something new. So what happens is I have to go to the yarn store and have to buy yarn specific to my project, which is not a bad thing. Like, it keeps me from spending, like, too much money, but, I mean, I think they must think I'm literally insane at the yarn store, because I'm there, like, every week. Sometimes every other week, but, like, sometimes every week, buying, like, more yarn. Because I finished a project and now I need a new one, obviously. Yeah, so, I got some Christmas money from Luke's grandmother, sweet lady that she is, and what else do you do with Christmas money but go to the yarn store? So that's what I did. So that's when I bought those 2 skeins of sock yarn that I'm working on right now, but I also bought this. Oh my god, is it even gonna show up? So this is Sweet Georgia Tough Love Sock in their Rogue colorway, and guys, I love the word rogue. This could have been like the ugliest shade of brown. I probably would have bought it just because it's called Rogue. And it made me think of something like Assassin's Creed or something. Yeah, so this is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 425 yards, or 388 meters. Oh, it's 115 grams. How interesting, I didn't know that. Anyway, so yeah, I love it. It's like purple. It's got multiple shades of purple in here. It's sort of like grayed down, brown down, and then it's sort of like, it's kind of like Luke's sock, but because it's not like overwhelmingly present, I really like it. It's sort of like yellowy, ochre brown. And like, yeah, so it's got, this lighting, yeah, anyway, so I love it. I actually never used Sweet Georgia yarns. They just recently started stocking the Tough Love sock at my yarn store, and I've been wanting to try it. And like Luke and I were like, because I was walking around the store with like 5 skeins, going, which one? Like 2 like really similar ones, like 3 really similar ones, whatever. And he's like, well, you should pick the ones that, you know, you haven't worked with yet, because you're still new and you want to find out what you like and that sort of thing. And I was like, oh, good advice, Lou, thanks. Yeah, I'll take that advice. So I went with this one because the other one was a Northbound Knitting one that was kind of similar in her alchemy colorway. But because I didn't get it because the second thing I bought was this, which is Northbound Knitting. So I didn't want to buy 2 Northbound Knitting, so I went with the Sweet Georgia one. But yeah, look at that. I think it's Avernia. The writing is kind of messy, honestly. I don't know exactly. I think it's Avernia. Anyway, superwash merino fingering, 100% superwash merino, approximately 400 yards, 100 grams. It's beautiful. It's silvery. It's got that like lovely like chartreuse and some like it's got like really little bits of speckling in there. But like the tonal grays. Oh, there you go. No, here. This though. So anyway, I bought these together to use together because I thought, hold on, that kind of like ochre color would pick up really nice with the chartreuse. And I was thinking about making the Pure Joy shawl by Locatelli with these 2. because I've never done short rows, and I like to try and learn something new with everything that I knit, because, again, I'm a more ambitious knitter than I ever was a crocheter. But I'm also kind of like, maybe I just want another one of these, because it's perfect. I don't know, guys. What do you think? I'm kind of thinking of Pure Joy, though. I don't know if I want it. I'm at the point of being ready to knit too many doubles of things. So yeah, really love these two together. Anyway, okay, so I think that's it in terms of like yarn related stuff, knitting related stuff. So let's get into like my life, etc. Which is, I mean, honestly not the most exciting, but let's talk about it anyway. Yeah, so like I said, I work in children's theater in multiple capacities. So I've been working with the current group that I work with for 10 years, which is crazy when you think that I'm only 26 and I've like invested 10 years of my life in this theater company. But I've literally gone through like every tier of that group that ever existed. Like I started out as a volunteer stage crew member, I became like an assistant director intern, and then I was an assistant director, and I was an assistant stage manager, and I was a camp instructor, I was a drama class instructor, which was not my ballgame. Neither was camp. Really not at all. And then I became, did I say assistant director already? Maybe. Anyway, I was also assistant director. And then I became a director and a stage manager. So this year I stage managed a production of Elf Jr., which was fun, but also extremely anxiety-inducing, and that's why I was so glad that I had the knitting to work on. And I was doing a ton of gift knitting at the time because it was like fall to Christmas, and I got so much stuff done. I learned so many things. I learned how to cable, I learned how to do lace, like I learned how to do stripes, like carrying up the yarn, which like boggled my mind for like the longest time, and all that sort of stuff. So that was like really great to have the knitting there for that. And I'm currently on holiday from that job, but I'm starting again in February, and I'm directing Beauty and the Beast Jr. for the second time. So yes, it is the Disney Beauty and the Beast, which means that will be my life until June. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I also am sometimes an actor for this other theater company in town, and we do shows for young audiences. So this year we did Peter Rabbit and Friends, and I played Peter Rabbit and many of his friends. So I played Peter Rabbit, I played Moppet the Kitten, and I played Jemima Puddle Duck, which was so much fun. If you are like a hardcore Peter Rabbit person, I don't know that you would have loved our interpretation of some of these things. And I was also a mouse. But yeah, we kind of took things in a new direction to kind of, I don't know, change it up. So like that's a lot of fun. That brings me a lot of joy and fulfillment, and it's kind of one of the things that I do just for me. Yeah, so in terms of other things, I guess like yeah, we just had the holidays, and that was busy, and there were a lot of different places to be and food to eat. But I don't really want to get into that, the whole Christmas thing, because I mean it's over, like way over. New year, no resolutions. I'm gonna just try to get through this year in a better place, like headspace in general, and I just feel like piling resolutions onto myself is just begging my perfectionism to like punch me in the face, like just full on like bam, like you suck and you failed at everything, even if I didn't, because I mean that's the thing, right? You get hard on yourself and then you feel bad, but you don't need to, because it's just life. I mean, it's not that I don't have goals. I do have goals. I want to finish writing my novel, which was here a second ago. Oh, you know where it is? It's under my computer. So I won't show you. But yeah, so my goal is to finish the draft of my novel and to hand it out to some beta readers, because maybe it'll be done this year, and then I can actually start like sending it, like to query it to agents, which would be really exciting. I mean, exciting, but also like horrifying and terrifying, and like, whoa, because you know you're sending your baby out to be judged. But anyway, and I have a few painting related things that I want to do. I have a painting for a friend that I need to do of Data. I wonder if she probably wouldn't mind if I showed you the prelim drawing. So if you're wondering, no, I did not paint everything that you see here. I painted this, which is Ronan from Maggie Seafodder's Raven Cycle. Yeah, that, oh no, that's it basically. Anyway, so I am working on a painting. Theoretically, oh, here it is. Of Data. So this is obviously the prelim. And yeah, so it'll be watercolor. It'll probably have like a galaxy background. And I like to put halos around all my portraits, you can tell from Ronan. So I'll probably do like a silver halo, maybe. Depends on what colors I end up using. But I really, really, really like how this turned out. I was really shocked, actually. This kind of came out in the first go. Yeah, and then the other thing that I kind of, I started accumulating supplies for was a series of portrait miniatures. So historically, portrait miniatures were a thing like you would get, like it was mostly, you know, wealthier people, and they would, you know, get a portrait done of their sweetheart or their betrothed or whatever, or they would send, if it was like an alliance that was sort of being made, they might send a portrait miniature to the person so like, you know, they kind of knew what they looked like, because obviously no photography. So I kind of wanted to bring that back. I really like pretty things. I like little things, and I like pretty little things. So I started some prelims for some portrait miniatures. Oh, I really like her though. Isn't her expression lovely? Oh my god. There we go. Oh, I love her. And I also this one. Whatever. I'm probably not gonna paint that one. I like her, but I also really, really like him. I just think he looks so like dashing, doesn't he? Anyway, so these are all based on vintage photographs that I find, and then I kind of play with color, and obviously because they're in black and white, the photos, and yeah, so I've been playing with, oh, I also did one here, well, two, but I did one of Arya Stark, because, whoop, there we go, I love her, oh my god, I'll probably paint that at some point. Yeah, so I'm thinking about doing that. I haven't painted very much lately, and it's just because you get to a point where you have drawers full of artwork, and you don't want to, like, you maybe don't want to sell them because you like them, but like they're not good enough or big enough or whatever to put on your wall, so they just sit and they languish in a drawer. And so I was kind of getting, oh my god, my bags, what the heck. So I was getting kind of tired of just painting things to be put in a drawer. But whatever, I guess. Oh, I guess I can talk about like other stuff that I've been kind of enjoying lately, like media related. So first, now that I've said that, can we all talk about Moana? I'm obsessed. And I know I've said that multiple times now, but like I really mean that I am obsessed with Moana. Like there are Disney movies that I love, like deeply in my soul love, like Beauty and the Beast and stuff like that, and Little Mermaid and whatever. But somehow, even though I've been watching those movies on the regular since I was maybe like 3, I still don't even know all the music by heart. Not the case with Moana. I immediately got the soundtrack, and like, it wasn't even that I got the soundtrack. I went on YouTube on the Disney Vivo, and I just had the soundtrack on loop. I like was listening to it like 10, 15 times a day. I know basically all the lyrics now. And my husband loves Moana, so he has it on his phone, and we just listen to it everywhere we go. We're constantly singing Moana. That movie is literally everything to me. On so many levels, guys. It was so good. If you haven't seen it and you like Disney, go see it now on the big screen. It's beautiful. Okay? The other thing that I watched that I really, really enjoyed was Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. I accidentally binge watched the first season while I was knitting my socks and finishing up my shawl, because I say accidentally because this happens to me where it's because I'm on holiday, so I have a lot of time, and mostly I work in the evening, so I have a lot of time during the day, and I put on an episode because my friends had been watching it and they liked it, and I don't know, I was like, I like Douglas Adams, so I was like, okay, cool, I'll watch it while I'm knitting, and suddenly I watched 4 episodes. Like, it's because Netflix does a thing where it will just automatically play, so it doesn't even require you to work. You don't have to press a button or anything. So, God, that makes me sound like an old person. Like, I'm amazed by that fact. But anyway, so suddenly I had watched 4 episodes and was totally, like, obsessed with it. Now I want to, like, watch it again with Luke, because he didn't watch any of it with me. And I'm also, like, dying because of that ending. Okay? I won't spoil anything. Like, literally a single thing. But, yeah. So, Dirk Gently, season 1 is on Netflix. Go and watch it. I finished watching The Fall with Gillian Anderson and Jamie Dornan, and oh my god, I don't know how I feel, guys. I don't know if any of you are The Fall fans, but one, I love Gillian Anderson. That woman is actually a queen, and I was like really afraid about Jamie Dornan being in. Oh, I like the single better. I like Jamie Dornan. Like, his face is really cute, so I wasn't sure how I would feel about him playing like a serial killer, because I really, really loved him for the brief moment he was on Once Upon a Time. And he was so sweet. So, yeah. But I loved it. It was so good. I'm not sure how I feel about the ending. I won't spoil anything again. But, yeah, I was kind of like, oh, because this seems to be a thing in these like British cop shows. This is how it ends, but whatever. It was fine. It was great. I watched this final season in 2 days again, accidentally. Yeah, and Luke and I have also been really getting back into Lord of the Rings. I watched the extended editions for the first time, which is sort of sacrilege, I guess, but but I never watched them. I just never had a reason to sit down and watch them, and I didn't realize that on Netflix, the ones that they had were the extended editions. It was like I actually put on the Two Towers first, and I was like knitting away on my shawl, whatever, and I was like, okay, I know I've been sitting here for a while, but I cannot have been sitting here like that long, like that this movie is still on, like it should be over. And then I realized that it was like 4 hours long, and it was because it was the extended edition. I was like, oh, so I guess I'm committing to that now, because now I have to watch all of them, and I did. And then of course Luke wasn't home because he was at work while I was watching them, and he's like, well, I want to watch them, so now we're probably gonna watch them again. And he got the Shadow of Mordor game for PS3, and I am not a gamer, but I do really enjoy watching people who are good at playing video games play that sort of like action adventure kind of games. So like when he played like Uncharted and all the Assassin's Creed games and The Last of Us, like I actually like it was like watching a movie basically. So he's been playing. He just started playing Shadow of Mordor, and yeah, pretty cool. I will never play it, but I will watch him play it and enjoy it. Is it? Oh no, it's just on my screen. Yeah, And I guess the last like movie, like TV related thing I'll talk about is Rogue One, which, okay guys, I have a confession to make. I've never watched all of the old Star Wars movies. Ooh, which is awful because I love sci-fi and I'm a huge Trekkie, and like I go to conventions in costume kind of Trekkie. I haven't done that for a while, but I used to. And so like I really assumed that I would love Star Wars, and I tried watching them. My parents had them like the special editions on VHS, and like you had to like go like either sit through or fast forward through like 3 hours of like, it wasn't 3 hours. It was a long time though of like special features to get to the actual movie. But anyway, I didn't love it. I couldn't get through it. Ugh, I don't know. But I really loved The Force Awakens. Poe and Finn. They need to be a thing. So I really loved Force Awakens. I was fully confident that I would love Rogue One. And I kind of did until, because, okay, I won't say anything, but there were some things that I loved, like, for instance, K2, sassiest robot alive. He was perfect. But because I didn't have the context of the originals, really, like, there were certain things like that I had context for, like, obviously I know Luke, I'm your father, but like I didn't have all of the nuances. So there were a lot of things where they would be talking about things, and like I knew intellectually, like, oh, this is obviously referencing the original, but like I had no idea what it meant. Or like you know, the ships are battling, and I'm like, I don't know who's dying. What am I supposed to be feeling? It like, I don't know. And there were some CGI people in that movie that I was not a huge fan of. It was like having a Pixar character randomly thrown in. Like, I can forgive CGI robots and aliens. I cannot forgive CGI humans. I can't get on board with that. But yeah, I really like the aesthetic of the movie. I liked the soundtrack. I liked the characters. A lot of it didn't make sense to me as a non like Star Wars fan, and the stuff that did make sense to me, some of it was just like meh. But I will say, Bodhi was adorable. Adorable. He was the pilot. He was precious baby. So yeah, maybe I'm like the only person in the world that was not like obsessed with Rogue One when I watched it. Like, Luke loved it because he is a Star Wars fan, but I didn't love it as much as I love The Force Awakens. And I think it was because The Force Awakens was like brand new. You didn't really have to have watched all of them to like understand. Sorry, I keep fixing my hair. I'm just like, anyway. It was like starting fresh, and I loved all the characters, and yeah. So Rogue One was like not great for me. And the last thing, media related, I will talk, and then I will literally zip the lip, is podcast that Luke and I listen to. We're probably like so late to the boat here. Late to the boat, late to the game. Late to the game. Okay? But we are so into My Dad Wrote a Porno, which sounds like a bizarre thing to listen to if you don't know what it is. But what it is it's like this British guy, this English guy, and his two friends, and his father wrote an erotic novel called Belinda Blinked. And so his son, Jamie, he reads it chapter by chapter, and then they they interject and like chat about it and like laugh and tear it apart, basically. And it is so funny and bewildering to listen to. Like, we listen to it while we eat dinner. Like, it's, I don't know, it's weird. Or we'll listen to it while Luke is sewing and I'm knitting or whatever. But it's so funny, like crying, like tears down your face crying. If you have not listened to it and you do not have like I guess a really modest sense of humor and you don't mind the language, like, maybe don't listen to it when you have kids around, but give it a listen, because it is so funny. Don't listen to it on public transportation, though, because I can guarantee you will just be sitting on a bus or a train, just, like, sobbing, weeping. Actually, there is one more that I want to talk about, because it took me by surprise. So I was a huge fan of Serial, and then Canada, CBC, I think it is, kind of started their own sort of version of Serial last year, called Someone Knows Something. And that first season was not great. Like, I listened to it all the way through because, like, I wanted to know if anything happened, but, like, it wasn't sorry. Wow, asthma though. So the first season was about he was investigating a cold case from, I think, the 60s. It was a little boy who had just disappeared without a trace on a fishing trip with his family, and so he was trying to uncover stuff. And I mean, the problem was, I think, that it was just too long, and there really was no clues. Like, there were no clues as to where this boy had gone. It sort of felt like they were grasping at straws. But season 2 is nutty, okay? It's the same journalist, and he's investigating the Cheryl Shepard case, and Cheryl Shepard disappeared like 20 years ago-ish in Hamilton, Ontario. And there was only ever one suspect, but they were never able to make an arrest, and so he's been sort of like investigating all these different leads and stuff, and it's much more exciting, I guess you could say. Like, he's definitely making more headway in this season than he was able to in the last one. So it's been very, very interesting. I really enjoy true crime podcasts, which, I won't lie to you, does absolutely nothing for my anxiety. But I think that's why I listen to it. It's like my novel that I'm writing is sort of like, it's like about a missing persons case as well, and it's like one of my greatest like anxieties, but it's kind of like a way to tackle it, I guess, or I mean, that's the excuse I give. I find it very interesting. But yeah, it's a really, really interesting listen if you're into that sort of thing, I guess. Like, if you liked Serial, you might like season 2 of Someone Knows Something. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes, if anything comes of it, because I mean, it would obviously be really nice to be able to close that case after that long. But yeah, anyway, I think that's going to be it. I'm running at over an hour, which means with editing, it'll probably be about an hour or less, if I edit it. Let's find out. Yeah, so my name is Joy. This was The Anxious Knitter, episode 1. And, and if you want to find me on other forms of social media, I'm on Ravelry as dabblejoy, and I'm also on Instagram as Rhineland Story. Subject to change, but currently Rhineland Story, which has a whole thing to it, but I will make sure that I put that down there so that you don't have to try and spell that. Yeah, so I hope you had fun sitting and chatting with me. I had fun. I'm actually surprised at how much fun I had. This was actually not as, like, crazy hard as I thought it was going to be. I mean, maybe it's going to turn out terrible, I don't know, but, like, it felt pretty good. Whatever. Anyway, over and out.